Hi, sweetheart. Hi. Grandpa Birch here. Hey, are you ready for another story time? I think I have one for you. It's the Berenstain Bears Thanksgiving. Dear Bigpaw, you are invited to share our Thanksgiving dinner. Love, the Bear Family. By Stan and Jan Berenstain. The, thank- the Berenstain Bears Thanksgiving. It's around the next bend, down a sunny dirt road. Just ask the next squirrel, caterpillar, or toad. Wow. For the treehouse home of the bear family, where Ma, Pa, and the cubs are cozy and warm in their split level tree. Looks like the frog is starting his Thanksgiving early, eating the worm. That's a nice treehouse. Just at the moment inside their quaint home, they're reading the harvest honeycomb. The flower, the honeycomb. Honeycomb dribble, honeycomb drip. What lies ahead? A handsome stranger, honey, or a trip? Grizzly growl, grizzly grum, warn us of any danger to come. Then Mama blew hard. Loose flower flew. Who caught the flower? Papa, that's who. But Mama and Papa both had turned white. Papa from the flower and Mama from fright. Oh, he's gonna get me. The sign in the pan stuck to the honey. There was no handsome stranger, no trip, no money, but a bone chilling warning of danger ahead, a frightened footprint, a great giant tread. Oh, look, it's a Bigfoot or Big Paw. Big Paw, breathed Mama. Good grief, and alas, the Thanksgiving legend is coming to pass. Legend? Asked Sister. What legend is that? It says, when the bears of bear country grow greedy and fat and fail to share their nature's great bounty, that monster of monsters, Big Paw, will come and gobble up bear country, county by county. Nonsense, mocked Papa. Nonsense and stuff. Nonsensical piffle. Pure bear country guff. But Papa Bear couldn't have been more wrong. The Thanksgiving legend was coming on strong. Not more than 10 or 12 miles away, at that very moment of that very day, in the dark, murky forest, the ground was shaking from crane, fly to rock. Swamp creatures were waking. Oh no, what's coming? Something was coming. The creatures were frantic. Something enormous, something gigantic. Something is coming indeed. It was Big Paw. Of course. He was bigger by far than Paul Bunyan's horse. With shoulders like boulders, ditto his knees. His knees were big too. With paws big as dumpsters and arms thick as trees. Oh, look at them all. They're all scared. He's holding a little banjo or something. Out of the forest he came and he went. Each footfall leaving a monster-sized dent. But Papa just scoffed and pulled out his chest. Just forget about monsters and all the rest. Because, my dears, I beg to suggest, when it comes to holidays, your Papa knows best. I'm a bear for holidays. I like 'em all. Look at his eyes. Look at his eyes. Whether in winter, spring, summer, or fall. He likes all the holidays. And your paw has perfect holiday habits. On Easter, I always make way for rabbits and say a small poem for spring and rebirth. On Earth Day, of course, I cherish the earth. On Christmas Day, I think of others, fathers, mothers, sisters, and brothers. On Arbor Day, I talk to the tree. Hello, tree. But Thanksgiving is the best holiday, if you please. The one that for me is really the winner. Why? It's Thanksgiving dinner. Yum! Yes, it was almost time for the bears. Thanksgiving Day, they gave thanks for their standard of living. And what a standard it was! From hollow to hill, from glenlock to glade, the bears of bear country had it made. Wow, walking down, except for the legend that said, if the bears of bear country were selfish and greedy, and insufficiently kind to the needy, giving them no more than a tail or a wing, then Bigpaw would come and do his thing. Hurrah! We'll have pickles and olives, marshmallows, yams, and 2 kinds of pie, jellies and jams, 7-grain bread, turkey, of course, also radishes, both red and horse, corn on the cob, dripping with butter, so yummy, yummy, so utterly, utterly, utter. So as you can see, in Papa Bear's case, all Thanksgiving meant was feeding his face. And I almost forgot. No ifs, ands, or buts. My favorite treat. We know, Papa. Mixed nuts. So they went to a place that only they knew, the mixed nut forest, where the mixed nut tree grew. As the cubs picked almonds and walnuts and pistachios too, which Papa Bear claimed as his Thanksgiving due, the entire forest started to lurch. Oh wow, what an earthquake! The cubs fell like stones from their lofty perch. But they landed not with a bone-jarring bump. They landed instead with a comfortable whomp. Whomp. Looks like something big caught them. For you see, the cubs have been caught midair in the dumpster-sized paw of the monster-sized bear. It was Bigpaw, of course. The monster had come. Talk about scared. The normally talkative cubs were struck dumb. They couldn't talk. Suffice it to say, something surprising happened that day. With a bit of a smile and a nary of sound, he gently placed them down on the ground. Oh, thank you, Bigpaw. What a shock! What a surprise! For despite his manner and imposing size, Bigpaw was nice, gentle, and shy. A friendly, helpful sort of guy. Those cubs knew what they had to do to tell that only part of the legend was true. Though he was powerful, fearsome, and tall, the monster called Bigpaw was no monster at all. It was important news, so off they hurried, leaving Bigpaw looking a little worried. Little cubs, you forgot your mixed nuts. This certainly was true. No ifs, ands, or buts. They left their mixed nuts. But when the cubs told Papa of the Bigpaw tale, his eyes opened wide and his face grew pale. Pa didn't hear the positive part. He heard was Bigpaw. The name struck terror in Papa Bear's heart. "Just hold on," said Mama. "Whether or not the legend is true, we must welcome the stranger. It's the right thing to do." But ignoring the news that Bigpaw was nice and paying no heed to Mama's advice, Papa Bear called up the Bear National Guard. They would deal with the stranger. They would deal with him hard. He's yawning. "Bear Country wants you, the National Guard." Meanwhile, Bigpaw had climbed to a high mountain ledge, and he stretched and he yawned as he looked over the edge. Roar! As Bigpaw's yawns rolled into the valley, through a mountain pass known as Echo Alley, they grew from a rumble to an enormous roar, and confirmed the bear's fears about a Thanksgiving monster of legend and lore. Alas, Mama's protest fell on deaf ears. The bears of Bear Country gave in to their fears, Mama's advice notwithstanding. They put down the cart of fear before a horse of understanding. To arms, cried Papa. "There's no time to fuss. We gotta get him before he gets us." Swords were unsheathed. Bugles were blown, as they were no longer bears with minds of their own. They were no longer Jack and Jill, Betsy and Bob. The bears had become a dangerous mob. With the false courage of numbers, to the mountain they went, with the arsenal of weapons and deadly intent. While up on the mountain, the cause of the flap was setting down for a bit of a nap. When he heard a strange sound, it was still far away, and not very loud, of course. What it was the roar of a crowd. He's getting ready for a nap. Now, Bigpaw certainly no mental wizard, but he was getting a fleeing down deep in his gizzard to trouble was coming. So he scratched his head and started his fuzzy old noodle humming and used his powerful arms and shoulders. He built a tower of boulders. If those bears were to charge up out of the valley, they'd be just like pins in a bowling ball alley. But those bears kept on coming, faster and faster. There was no simple way to avoid such a disaster. But then, at the very last instant before the rocks fell, there came through the din a cub's high-pitched yell. "Wait!" It was Sister. "Wait!" Sister cried. The rock tower teetered and started to slide. Brother and sister, small and defiant, had positioned themselves in defense of the giant. But brother and sister were in terrible danger, and there was no one to help them except for the giant. Well, looks like he's ready to push the boulders off. They're right under him. With the bears looking on in amazement and shock, Bigpaw held back the tower of rocks. That tower of rock, and with the great strength of his mighty right arm, he protected the small brother and sister from them. "Bigpaw's our friend. He's very nice. He saved us once, and now he's rescued us twice." Weapons and hats filled the air, plus thankful shouts from every bear. There was joy in the valley on that fateful day. The bears welcomed the stranger. Yes, they had a to repay. We're sorry. But it was more than that. At Thanksgiving dinner, the very next day, host Papa Bear had this to say: Friends, we are thankful that we learned to share our bounty with our fellow bear. Excuse me, please. If you don't mind, here's something you left behind. Oh, look, Papa, your favorite treat, mixed nuts. Yes, friends, it was quite a Thanksgiving. No ifs, ands, or buts. And that, my friend, is the end of the story. What did you think of the Berenstain Bears Thanksgiving? All right, bye for now. And remember, Grandpa Birch thinks you're special.